What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Run Your Mouth podcast. I hope you're out there, you're on your afternoon lunch break. All of a sudden, this popped up live on YouTube, and you're like, I'm going to check out the Run Your Mouth podcast. And here we are. We've got a stacked episode. But before I get into it, we've got important information to tell you. And no, it's not just that you can still get Yokratoms at yokratoms.com for $6 a kilo. It's not just that you could be wearing the greatest underwear that's ever graced the balls of man. Using promo code RYM, you get yourself 20% off sheathunderwear.com. It's none of that. Or it's not just that I got a Wednesday night show tonight at Cafe Bohemia where I'm going to tell a story about calling the police and then them not showing up. And then also skiing this weekend, Friday, Saturday at Steamboat. I will be there with Kyle Ruff. I'll ski with you in the afternoon if you hit me up. Bring some edibles, drink some beers on the mountain, hit some trees, get some concussions, and then do some comedy. And then on Sunday, dude, Saturday night, I'm doing my comedy show. Then I'm going to get in the car. I'm going to drive to the airport. I'm going to sleep at the airport. I'm going to get on a plane. Then I'm going to drive a car to Providence, Rhode Island. You know why? Because I'm going to do shows with Davey Smith, BK Chris. We're going to do a live podcast. We're going to do stand-up shows, and that's it. That is all the information that I've got. You know what? We've done the plugs. We can call it an episode. I salute all of you for showing up for the live stream. That's our show. Have a good evening. Have a good day. And, you know, people are going wild in the chat. Usually we don't get this much activity, but Dr. Meatblood wants to know, why are you gay? And the answer is I didn't start that way. What happened was I experimented with gay anal sex and I got AIDS, and then I just decided I might as well stay within the gay category. Ninja Kick the Damn Rabbit says oil. Yeah, it's probably a good investment right now. And Nash Coleman coming in, word, the fire with the audio. It's true. It's impressive when we can both broadcast on the usually scheduled day, an hour and 40 minutes after our usual time, but actually have audio for the broadcast. That's pretty good. Our producer's trying to get his shit together. He recently quit his heroin habit, moved over to Kratom, and things are coming together for us. But, you know, there's going to be a time in the future where everyone's going to know Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, sometimes at 11 a.m., Run Your Mouth goes live. And if you don't catch it live, it might just be gone for the ether. You never know what's going to get censored. All right, we've already wasted enough time. Let's get right into some topics. There's some immediate improvements that I think we need in the universe. There's items that I don't think if we don't correct immediately, it's almost like global warming. This is going to be our last best chance to make these changes. And as long as we implement these changes, the world might end up being a better place. But if we don't actually get cooking on my specific list of things that need immediate improvement, we're going to have some problems. So here's the first thing that we got to improve in this country is forget border walls. We need longer hallways. Have you seen Putin and Z walking through these magnificent hallways, just mocking Joe Biden by showing off their incredible walking skills? I think Z called up Putin, and he's like, you know what? I better come to you. You got nicer hallways. You got nicer, longer hallways. You got those long hallways. We can go with the wide shot. We can really show off how much distance we can walk uninterrupted and really showcase how the Americans fucked up by voting in a person with dementia. And we got to get on it. We can't be losing to the Russians in the long hallway race. I mean, it wasn't enough. So sure, 30 years ago we faked a moon landing, but since then they've been investing in these long hallways. I mean, if some aliens came down here and they saw their hallways versus all hallways, they would go, okay, that's the world empire. You see the hallways these guys got? Big, glamorous, giant tunnels with golden arches. And we're over here, with round offices? We're going to have to step up our hallway game. Or you know what we need? We need a fashion show where we got to get all of our pretty World Economic Forum leaders out there, your Trudeaus, your Newsoms, your macaroons, dress them up real pretty, and get them walking down hallways. We can't be losing the hallway race to this new China, Russia global empire making a mockery of our world leaders that can't walk real good and having nicer hallways than that. Is that the way that we want this country to end? Being mocked by these other people in their glamorous hallways? So that's the first thing that we're going to have to work on, is that China and Russia, they're forging ahead in their own little new world empire. We're splitting the world here. It's going to be Iran, maybe Saudi Arabia, China, Russia, India versus U.S., Germany, South America, which doesn't really count for much. What is South America really contributing here? So the point is, we're going to have to step up our hallway game. All right, next thing that needs immediate improvement. The FCC is going to have to institute an F-word button for collapsing news anchors. Because do you guys want this to be the end of live television? You know, every once in a while you're channel surfing. It's nice to be able to see things that are live. But if we continue to just have news anchorings collapsing live on television, they're not going to have live television anymore. So you need a button. You need a button in place. The same as when someone was actually accidentally saying the F word on radio and you press a button because you're actually someone on delay and then it would go blank. So you need that, but with security footage where, you know, like in movies when they go and they rob a place and so they put the security camera on a loop so that the security guard thinks he's seeing what's actually happening in the hallway, but really seeing the footage from 10 minutes ago and you're stealing all their shit. So we're going to need that. But for news anchors, so when they collapse live on air, you know, you don't have to be sitting there as a buffoon. You go, poof, and then all of a sudden they play the footage from a couple minutes ago, and boom, now we've saved live television. Here's another one. Talking about central bank digital currencies. And God bless, you got to give some credit to DeSantis for talking about the important issues. Did you guys see him out there? He was on the Twitters talking about central bank digital currencies, how it's not going to happen, how he's going to pose it in Florida. At least DeSantis is, you know, I'm not saying that he'd be a good guy. I feel like everything's a different devil wearing nicer clothing. That's all it is. So to me, I like the DeSantis clothing, but that guy gets into office. You know, you think he's not going to be a conservative? Shoving women's fetuses back up, even if they've been aborted. He's going to be like, well, you got to keep this for the next 9 months. Making drugs illegal. Starting some other wars someplace else. Going back to Gitmo and re-torturing people for information that they didn't have. I'm just saying, these conservatives, you know, you get suckered. You're like, oh, this guy seems to be doing pretty good. But he's doing good on some things. He did pretty good on the COVID stuff. He's doing good on opposing Fauci. And now he was doing good about opposing what's going on in the Ukraine. And now he's doing a good job of talking out against central bank digital currencies. He's doing a decent job on some of the biggest issues that we have in regards to freedom. Now, are we just being suckered by a guy who then brings us right back? He goes, hey, I was more into Iraq wars and doing things to benefit Israel than I am this other Jew in the Ukraine? It's a possibility. But anyways, let's stay focused on the improvement that we can make to central bank digital currencies. Here's how we ensure that this doesn't happen. We got to let people know. No, we have to take a stance and go, if there's going to be central bank digital currencies, health is the biggest issue in this country, and so we need to limit people's ability to be able to buy unhealthy foods. Because if we do that, I think average people are going to be like, you know, what happened in New York with Bloomberg. Hey, you can't take my soda. I need 1,000 milligrams of sugar every single morning, and how dare you tell me what size soda cup I can be drinking from? Because people in this country, they all want to be fat fucks. That's what we want to do. If we're headed towards anywhere, I'm not the only person with a sugar and fucking bread addiction. You want everyone's going to be kicking the habits on the same time out on the streets? I mean, that's how you placate people. You got to give them the bread lines. You got to give them the porn. You can't give them the currency and then tell them that they can't have the exact things that's going to make them docile and not want to protest. So that's what we got to do. We got to get ahead of this thing and say, get the central bank digital currencies, but we got to start saving our costs on healthcare. And so we are going to limit your ability to consume sugary products, because then people will protest. But guess what? If they don't protest, then all of a sudden being a fat fuck is going to become a status symbol. You know, like the way people used to get decked out in their gangster wear so that you knew that that guy had marijuana and didn't care about the laws. So maybe we could do the same thing for sugar, where all of a sudden you see a fat fuck, you're like, oh, this guy knows how to get some donuts. This guy knows where the underground donut markets are. All right, and then I had one other thing that we need. Oh, here's another good idea. Federal Reserve annual coin toss. Any of you guys watch the World Baseball Classic last night? It was fun because it was a tournament. You got to hate on the Japanese who beat us, but you got to hate on them for a little bit. You know what I mean? That was fun. It was one game. I didn't have to watch a whole season. It was nice and quick. I started watching in the 7th inning. I was able to be like, all right, that's America. Those are the Japanese. I'm going to root for America. I was able to get all excited about it, and it was over within a half hour. So I look at all these decisions with the Fed. Hey, are we going to raise interest rates? Are we going to lower interest rate? Are we going to fuck over the savers? Are we going to bail out the banks? Are we going to screw over the pension funds? Or are we going to help the venture capitalists? It's all a big game of them pretending, oh, we're going to keep ourselves at 2% inflation every year. Oh, we're going to change our standards because we can't hit the 2% inflation, so we're going to make up for lost time. Oh, but if we hit that inflation, then we've got this problem with the unemployment. Hey, you guys can't be an organization just looking at inflation and unemployment. The important thing that you guys need to start taking into account is ESG scores. We need this environment to be environmentally sound. Even that means if you got the higher unemployment and even more inflation because you bottomed out the economy, at least you got the environment's doing better. And then the environment starts doing better and they go, yeah, but look at the economy. It's just a fucking seesaw back and forth of chaos because they can't get any of it done. So instead of all that, let's just have one day, once a year, everybody tunes in. We got the entire industry. We fire all these supposed experts who are making all this money, either giving speeches or just working there. Just working there, having their good jobs, pretending like they're lording above us, like they've got all the insights and answers, and that they're actually making the world better. Fuck that. Let's just have a coin toss. We raising interest rates, we lowering interest rates. Just fucking flip a coin. However it lands, that's the way it's going to be. And then we move on. All right, and then here's my last brilliant idea of immediate fixes that we need to make this country a better place. Bunch of Oath Keepers got in trouble. I don't know if you guys saw that a bunch of Oath Keepers, they got in trouble. And there was this picture where they're like, look at all these guys. They're wearing their military helmets. They're wearing their military gear. So here's what we need. If you're going to be protesting, you got to get yourself like an old lady suit. So you can pretend like it's a drag protest. Are you protesting the drag, or are these drag people who are protesting? You want to pretend like you're a drag person who's protesting, because that's like the privileged class. You got to bring your books as if you're trying to protest that they won't let you read it to kids in drags. But then really, what you do is you get a military helmet, and then you just put one of those wigs over it. You get a full body armor suit, and you just put it under like a Mrs. Doubtfire style dress. Now the next thing you know, you're in full riot gear, but it just looks like you're trying to read a book to kids. And you can blend right in. That's like being deep left undercover. Oh, I was just looking for the place to read the books to the kids. That's the only reason I'm out here at this protest. I was here to read books. That's it. And then the book, you got to get like a heavy book that you can actually use as a weapon. Like maybe something like a phone book, or you get your old lady purse with the books in it. Now you got a good weapon, and then underneath your Mrs. Doubtfire dress, it's nothing but body armor, and underneath that wig, you got yourself a military helmet. And then when they take pictures and they try and go look at these people in military gear, you just blend right on in there. All right, that's it for my brilliant immediate improvements to fix basically everything that's happened in the news the last couple days. All right, here we go. Xi Putin meet in show of unity. So we've got our deep state elites trying to think about America first, bullying the entire world, making sure that everyone stays in our currency for the next 100 years, and that everything's good for America, picks a fight with Russia, doesn't make sure that China's got our backs. Now, we continue to let this thing linger. It's getting worse and worse, and Xi finally goes, you know what? We're done with this whole thing. We're going to go over to Russia, and we're going to show that we're not taking America's side here. And so I am just appreciating the catty language coming from American leaders about China working together with Russia. That's how we're going to beat these people. We're over here, we're complaining, we're getting money for socialism and left causes, and so forget fighting with people or making good decisions about global economic strategy and otherwise. The one thing we've got left is catty language, and we're going to use it to our benefit. So here we go. Anthony Blinken said Xi's trip, coming days after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for Putin, suggests that China feels no responsibility to hold the Kremlin accountable for the atrocities committed to Ukraine. They feel no responsibility. Remember, we need all hands on deck. We've got borders, these magical lines between countries, and each evil little dictator, they get their little territory, and we've got to respect the little territories of each evil dictator. And if every country doesn't do that, then it's all going to fall apart for everybody. I just love that. Suggests that China feels no responsibility. They don't feel it at all. We're over here, and then here is the other line. The United States has dismissed the proposal as a charade intended to give Russia cover as it presses on with Putin's war in Ukraine, which has become bogged down. They're not even winning the war. They want cover so that they continue to just go into Ukraine and kill people for sport at this point, because it's not even like they're winning. It's not even going, yeah, you want to help Russia while they're out there losing. You want to go join the losers. Best of luck. So if you're wondering what America's policy is in terms of de-escalating the war, it's we're going all in on catty language. We're just figuring if we can just get out there and hire enough moms that just recently left the Real Housewives of California to write for our politicians, we might just be able to shame these people into changing what they're doing. But listen, what does it matter if Russia goes and starts taking over the world? It's coming to an end anyways. I mean, this is the latest from the Washington Post. World is on brink of catastrophic warning, UN climate change report says. So what does it matter anyways? I mean, we're the planet's going up anyways. These are the people that have reached the highest levels of government power. They might as well enjoy their power and go invade other countries while they can. This might be the last chance in human history for a dictator of a country to use his tremendous wealth and resources to go invade his neighbors. And that's really all you're doing the whole time. Watching your neighbor over there, that's like for us, if you're just watching some hot lady and then at some point you find out the world's going to end, you're going to go for it? I'm not going to go for it because I'm not a sick individual. And I'm not telling you that if the world starts coming to an end, that you should break all societal norms, because I believe that there's a higher place that you go to when you die, and you don't want your last moments on earth to have been spent doing something so horrible that you show up at the pearly gates in heaven and God's like, you know, you did pretty good your whole life. I don't know why you had to do that in the last 5 minutes. You were basically in and you blew it in the last 5 minutes. But that's you and I, because we're not sociopaths. But these world leaders, they're sociopaths. And they spend their whole lives just looking at the borders, thinking about, you know, I could probably go into Mexico and fuck those people up. I could probably expand my territory. It's not enough that I got all these slaves in my region paying taxes. I could probably go in there. You and I, we're thinking at it from the standard of, oh, look at me. I've already got a paycheck coming in. I've already got all these loyal servants that got to pay me their taxes. And as long as I keep that line over there and pretend like I'm protecting them from other things and giving them resources, then these fucking sheep slaves just continue to pay me their taxes. But that's you and I. That's the way that we would operate our business if we were lucky enough. But that's why we never get to these positions. We never become dictators. People that are dictators, they look at those lines and go, maybe I can push it a little bit more. And if you're telling me that there's this global warming thing, and unless we cooperate with all the other dictators who I know aren't going to take my calls or get along with me, it's all going to come to an end anyways, then I might as well move that line just a little bit. All right, this was a wild tangent. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. World is on brink of catastrophic warming, UN climate change report says. Right, guys, it's nearly over. Go take all your money out of your bank before your bank closes anyways and decides to give it to the nearest rich person around. You know, when there's a bank run, they're going to go, well, we need all of your money to plug it back into the financial system, because as long as it's in the bank and in the hands of rich people, then we can get the machinery and plumbing flowing again, and then eventually you might see some of your money. So forget that. The banks are closing. The planet's warming. It's all coming to an end. So, you know, just buy yourself some kratom. That's really all that is left to do. So let's read this. So they're so convinced that the world is coming to an end. Let's read the science here, because if they know that the world is ending and they have good science that the world is ending, they might as well share it with us, because if it's that clear cut, I would think everyone would get on board with this. I mean, even the people in China, even the people in India. I mean, if we've got 100% evidence, everyone likes listening to the scientists. If we learned anything from COVID, I mean, China was like the best at listening to their scientists. They kept everyone locked in their houses for years. So if you're telling me that there's solid science, I'm sure China would be on your side. I mean, when it came to science for COVID, they would keep people in their homes. They shut down their economy. They got no problem shutting down an economy if it's in the name of good science. So if you've got good science, you just got to educate the people of China, and then the people of China will stop polluting. So let's see how scientific this good science is. Here we go. The world is likely to pass a dangerous temperature threshold within the next 10 years. Well, sounds like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Hey, guys, it's definitely going to happen. What's definitely going to happen? I don't know. Something perhaps in the next 10 years. But we've got the best scientists working on this, and we're 100% sure. Let's keep going. Pushing the planet past the point of catastrophic warming. So there's a catastrophic level of warming. We don't know when we're going to hit it. We don't know what might happen that will get to that point, but it will be catastrophic. unless nations drastically transform their economies and immediately transition away from fossil fuels, according to one of the most definitive reports ever published about climate change. There you go. So let's recap. The world's definitely coming to an end. The best scientists were able to make that decision. It might happen in the next 10 years. We could pass this dangerous thing, and you just have to trust that it's the most definitive report ever. It's double secret probation. It's the worst thing. All right, what else do I got here? In your world of, hey, as long as we transition away from fossil fuels, everything will be better, which it's not true. If your technology's worked, if your green energy's worked, if they actually provided value, everyone would use them. But you know what's happening? You're coming into the market and you're introducing force to try and force us to use products that don't work as well so that random individuals can profit. And when random individuals can profit via force, you're stealing from the market. You're getting in the way of growth. You're getting in the way of the economic growth and the functioning system that would allow us to have wealth and prosperity, and then just grow out of, we can be on spaceships, going to other planets, having sex with aliens. We could be coming up with things that you didn't even need to fly. You could just teleport to Mars, have sex with an alien, teleport back for breakfast, and be like, baby, it's not cheating on you if it was an alien. Who knows where technological development was going, but instead of that, we're going, hey, this random guy with the windmill needs to make his profits so that the people of BlackRock can show their returns and that they can keep paying their coupon payments on the bonds that pension fund, and the whole system doesn't go under. Sure, it's a bad system that favors the elites, and we're the ones who are always yelling about the elites, but we got to make sure that the system stays intact. Isn't that kind of funny that they're always yelling about how the system favors the elites? And then when the system would naturally crumble under its own weight because of the blunders that the elites made, then they just come in and they go, well, we have to save the system. Well, isn't that the exact system that you guys have been complaining is bad? All right. Not ESG-friendly insures junk and tire EVs for minor accidents. It's something that I've said on the show before. I've said I'm not entirely sure on the science of this, but it seems to me like these electric vehicles, they're not that environmentally sound. My car, I got a car, it's operated for over 12 years. I think I just put like $1,500 or $1,800 into my engine, and my mechanic's saying that it might be good for at least another 100,000 miles. I've got an old Subaru Legacy that was given to me by my grandmother when my grandfather got to a point that he was acting like Biden, and they took away the keys from him. And then I actually felt bad taking the car because my grandfather would sit at home all day thinking that he needed to go to work, but he couldn't go to work because I hadn't returned his car to him. But my grandmother pointed out to me that I had two options. I could either take the car or she was just going to sell the car. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll take the car. And so luckily, my grandfather actually had a lady that loved him and was willing to take away the keys. Unlike Dr. Biden, who with her doctorate should be willing to go, hey, maybe this guy shouldn't be flying around the world, shuffling like he's looking for toilet paper, and, possibly getting us into nuclear war or bottoming out our currency. All right, but anyways, that was another tangent. We're trying to stay focused here, talking about the EV market. And so these cars, what happens if you can't recycle them? So I got a car, might last me on the road for 20 whole years. Is your car actually more environmentally friendly? And then it takes more carbon to actually make the things because they're over there in other countries. They're burning coal so that China can make you an electric vehicle. Of course, that carbon doesn't count. And then basically you have to have the thing on the road a certain amount of years before you even break even from a carbon standpoint. But if every single time one of these cars gets into an accident, you just have to throw the thing away, well, then your recycling costs, you're not even being environmentally friendly. I bet if you did a breakdown of every single thing that they pretend is environmentally friendly, it never actually meets their models of the environment because they're the ones that make the models. All right, moving on. I have no idea the accuracy of this, but it just fits into everything that I yell about every single day. And so if something fits your particular narrative, you don't do that much homework. You just take a screen grab and you go, all right, let's talk about that on the podcast. LVTR, I have no idea what the fuck this is, but it was a post, $178,000 a year. That's how much a diversity manager can make. Get equipped for one of the highest paying jobs in HR. Because this is the problem with our society, and when you get socialism and government money in the system, it's that nothing is about creating value, nothing is about products and services, nothing is about the invention. It's about aligning yourself with government so that you can get government money. And so now if you're a kid, you could be the smartest kid in the entire world, and you might start studying how to become an ESG corporate officer, where you use all of your brain capital, all of your intelligence to better police that your company is actually working towards bullshit, because the whole thing is bullshit. Government introduces bullshit to the system and then rewards people who are willing to invest their time and efforts into that exact bullshit. And so you know what we all end up with? More bullshit. All right. And now I've got a number of clips. The first two are on general topics. They will remain on this channel. And then we'll be going down from the YouTubes. You know why? Because we try and be a good, upstanding citizen of the YouTube platform. And so, you know, we don't want to play things here that might educate others, because that's not what people come to YouTube for. All right, let's take a couple comments, and then let's play some clips. Our reality has become completely surrounded in petrochemicals, so-called businesses, and production. Mansa West. Just think of all the fossil fuels that are used to mine the products, not just build the cars. Ray and Cap. 80% of Americans work paycheck to paycheck, so we don't give a fuck about the bands crashing. All right, we'll take two more. Luchado. Imagine if auto manufacturers put the EV R&D money into further increasing the efficiency of gas engines. I agree 100% on that. We've been working on gas engines for a long-ass time. Think about how productive those things could be getting. Maybe we get 1,000 miles to the gallon. I don't fucking know. Maybe they figure out how to get me off the ground where I actually got a flying car that operates the same as my car, and now I don't have traffic, and I'm getting all sorts of mileage to gallons. Have some faith in your local scientist. You know, it's the rest of you people that lack faith in science. Me over here, I've got so much faith in smart people who can figure out shit that I won't because I'm home eating cake. And that's what the world's about. I can make a living by screaming in my living room, and that person can actually go invent something, and then their invention can actually create value, and then all of us will go spend our money with it, and then that guy will go invent more shit. All right, let's get into some clips, and then we got some recent stuff on COVID, which will not be on this platform, and I don't know. Maybe what we'll do at some point is clips will start going pay only. Patreon or something. I don't know. Bro, you need a funny producer co-host to read the chats with some pizzazz and charisma. Sorry. Oh, I read it when it's good. Like, that one was good, and so I got excited by it while I'm reading it. You're getting an honest reaction of how excited I am or am not by your comments. And sometimes they're great. That was a good one, and so it got me excited. But sure, you know, maybe once we start going and charging money for all these amazing clips, will not only afford a better producer for me to yell at, but also the guy can read chat comments. And now I'm getting distracted by the chat, so we'll take two more, and then we'll move on to the clips. Maybe they stop killing the bros who make water powered engines. That could be. That could be. I don't know enough about that. Email me that story, robsnewsroom@gmail.com. I just piss in my gas tank, and, you know, it keeps me going. I just stole someone's sketch. I saw someone do a really funny sketch about that. All right. This is Haley's concerned about China-Russia alliance. Lady's looking pretty. You got to give her that. Lady looking pretty good. Let's hear what this old school conservative running for president, part of the elite's got to say about the situation between Russia and China.
How do you see it, China's role in Russia and what they're doing now?
This goes back to the debate that, you know, we have to talk about this in a way that we understand that there.
Does it seem like Sandy from SpongeBob? Some of you guys might be kids, not just have kids, but act like kids and get that reference.
There is nothing China would love more than to see Russia win this war on Ukraine, because a win for Russia is a win for China. These are two countries that have named and two dictators that have said they are unlimited partners. We need to remember that. They chose those words carefully. You look at the images today. That was very intentional. This is the new axis of evil, with Iran being their junior partner. What we have to do is stay focused. We have to have the backs of Ukraine. That doesn't mean we have money or troops, but we have to finish this because China does not want that. And what we have to make sure of is when Ukraine wins this war against Russia, that will send a message with China that wants to take Taiwan. It'll send a message to North Korea. It'll send a message to Iran. We have to finish this. This is not a territorial dispute. This is a fight for freedom, and it's one that we have to win.
How do you see it?
So now we have to fight China and Russia because if we don't, the world won't have freedom anymore.
How do you see it?
All right, next up. Oh, okay, yeah, this is fun. I laughed my ass off when I saw this yesterday, and it's a random Dr. Phil clip. Came across my Twitter feed. I've never watched daytime television, but sometimes you come across it, and it is a guilty pleasure because what they do on daytime television is so unbelievably rotten, where basically you have producers, and they go out and they find freaks of human beings, and then they put them on television, and then they pretend like they're offering help with a straight face while they actually are just exposing and mocking human beings for being oddballs. That is the structure of these television shows, is producers sitting around going, hey, I found a freak, and then a show host sitting there pretending like they're helping the freak, but we all kind of get what's going on. And so this is a overly conservative guy who has a daughter who is, I don't know how to say it. He's got, I guess his son has transitioned to female. And firstly, the dad's the funniest person I've ever seen. Like, I watch him, I'm like, do I have to be more bald? Is that why I'm not this funny? Do I just have to be more expressive? Do I have to somehow lose weight so that my upper jaw sticks out a little bit? I mean, my upper cheekbones have more of like a triangle ratio to my jaw. But you've got his son is dressed like a lady, but is handling the situation like more of a man, while the overly conservative male father can't keep it together and is acting like a total lady. Why, of course, Dr. Phil's just here printing a paycheck, and his producer goes, hey, I found you guys a good freak, right? All right, let's give this one a watch.
Nice to meet you. Let's sit right here. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Tell me what you're thinking and feeling right now, Gary.
I'm hurt bad.
I'm just warning everybody, it's probably not okay to be watching or laughing at this. Like, there might be segments that maybe you just want to skip. All right, let's continue.
Really bad.
What do you have to say?
Why?
I just want you to know that you didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong.
He feels like he let you down. He's gone back to the point of, he says, one time for Halloween.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
They literally did their homework before him. The producer goes, hey, this gets the guy really worked up. Go ahead and ask him that. And so Dr. Phil gets to pretend like he's the good guy here. And I'm entertained, so, I'm not faulting Dr. Phil. This is a winning structure.
He dressed up like a girl. I thought it was funny at first. No, I surely don't. I thought it was Halloween, so I just went along with it. Actually pinched him on his behind and said he made a good-looking girl, but I was only joking. He's not a good-looking girl. He's a very beautiful man.
I would love to see this guy just react to any situation that's going on in our country. Maybe they wrote this script for him, and he's just that bad of an actor, and maybe that's why this is so funny.
Right.
They could, and maybe daytime television writers are just that bad. He's supposed to be a beautiful man. All right, we probably didn't need to play that on the show. All right, everybody, we're going down from YouTube because now we got the spicy stuff. We got the, here comes the good stuff. You guys had to, go through 34 minutes of me ranting, yelling, making dumb suggestions, and come over to the live stream. You can come over to Twitter. You can come